I started putting down the ocean names: Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Antarctic, and Arctic Ocean. You'll notice that every time I put in text, it usually lines up on the left-hand side. If you were creating a table and wanted to change formatting for some reason, you always have the option to center text, change the text font, font size, the color, all the things that you're used to in word processing. For now, we're just going to leave it as is and go on and enter the information in columns B and C. Doing so, you're going to have a series of text along with numbers. Again, if you want to increase the column width, you can do so. And in this case, we're going to need to make it a little wider to hold our titles. You're going to notice as you put in numbers, they'll always line up on the right-hand side. They're right aligned as normal numbers would probably come up. And I'd encourage you, especially with numbers, to use your number pad on your keyboard. You can use the numbers above the letters over there on the normal area of your keyboard, but the number pad works a lot quicker, and you might as well get used to using that area to data entry. Once you have your items entered, we're going to do some formatting even further. Again, you may stop this video. I'll try to continue it on as best I can so you don't have to access another video. Looking at this table, we've got columns that have been adjusted to hold the information. Text is left aligned normally, and we have our numbers right aligned as normal default positions. Some of the formatting changes that need to be made now, and I've noted them on the handout or in the email that you got, was we need to take these items that are the headers and underline them and center them in this cell. When I select ocean name, for instance, the boundary comes up. I can go up to our normal alignment buttons at the top and center it, as well as the U or underline aspect, and I can go ahead and underline that first section. Now, doing it with each cell one at a time is fine, but let me go back. There's a little easier way, and spreadsheets, their main job is to try to make things easier for you. You can make those formatting changes on all three cells, A3, B3, and C3 at the same time. We just need to select those cells in a block and do the formatting changes at one time. With your mouse in the middle of the first cell, you notice the cross is there in the middle of the cell A3. Do not grab it near the corner or the black area. All you're going to need to do is select right in the middle of the cell, click and take your mouse, left click, and drag through the cells you want to highlight. You'll notice the first cell has its boundary, the black bar boundary. It's white in color in the background, but the other ones are darker in kind of a gray tone. That is giving you the indication that those three cells are highlighted. Then with those three cells highlighted, I can make the formatting changes in one step for all three cells. I can center the text and underline it. Next item we're going to want to look at is, these are very large numbers, and normally when you have a table you want the information easily read, you might want to have comma separators. In other words, the thousands need to have a comma. This first number, if you look a little closely at it, looks like it's about 60,060,700. Or this is 29,637,900. But in math, you probably want to have commas there so you can easily read them. The same thing would apply to the deepest point in feet. We want to add what's called comma separators, or add the 1,000 commas. I'm not sure what you call it in math, but a lot of times it's referred to as a comma separator. If you look at your Home tab, there's a series of formatting buttons, and as you go over towards the middle, you'll see a whole section that deals with numbers. That's what spreadsheets deal with a lot. And one of the options is the little comma or comma style button. You'll notice it on the Home tab in the Numbers section. So in this case, I need to select a block of cells. In our current spreadsheet, it'd be B4 through C8. Once that block is highlighted, and again, the first cell that I highlighted, I started in the middle and left-clicked and drug through the rest of the cells. It has a white background, but it's been selected because you can see the black border. Then come up to the button at the top, put a comma in there, and it adds a comma. Now, do you notice something else that it added? It is trying to format this for you with decimals. In fact, it put 2 decimal places there. This happens a lot with money. You need decimal points for the cents in dollars and cents. But in this case, these are not numbers that deal with currency. So we need to get rid of those extra decimal points. Now, if you look again back at the number formatting area, there's a section just to the right of the comma that has a stack of zeros. In fact, there's 2 buttons there. One that's a stack of zeros with an arrow to the right and one with an arrow to the left. In other words, we're going to increase the decimal positions or decrease it. In our case, we want to get rid of the decimals, so we would click that one button once, and we have our cells still highlighted. I'm going to click it once, and you'll notice it got rid of the decimal place just to 1 decimal. We click it again, we're back to our numbers in the normal fashion that we need it for this assignment. Again, we were just formatting the numbers. We used commas to separate, and the button up here at the top is a comma style. And then to get rid of the decimal points, we pressed decrease decimal. Looking back at our table, it would appear that we have formatted it the way we need to for this assignment. The last thing we want to look at is another feature that spreadsheets allow you to do. Overall, this is a table, and a title is called The World's Oceans at this point. Now, we need to have this title probably centered. A lot of times you might say, well, why don't we just put all this information over in cell B1? But in creating a spreadsheet with a table format like this, we want to have this centered with a different fashion than just moving it to cell B1. This width could vary, and we still want it over the center of the whole table. One feature that comes in handy with spreadsheets is its ability to take these cells, A1, B1, and C1, merge them into one cell and not have 3 different sections. With that done, we can center. So let me show you it, and then you'll be able to do it on your spreadsheet as well. I'm going to take cells A1, B1, and C1. Again, I'm clicking right in the middle of the cell. Don't scuff down and hit too many rows. Watch what you're doing and highlight exactly A1, B1, and C1. Then if you look up at the top in our Home tab again, you'll notice a little button that looks like it has an A in it. It's to the right of our alignment buttons that we normally use. And if you hold your mouse over it, it actually says Merge and Center. What it's going to do is take those cells, merge them, and actually take your title and center it over the middle of it. Now, one thing that you might find handy, I notice students when they open up a spreadsheet, they keep it in small view. In other words, you guys are able to see things much better than I. But if you sit there and want to zoom in on this because you have a problem looking at things and getting your mouse in the right location, you might take your zoom button or use the wheel on your mouse, hold down Control and wheel in, but you can come in a lot closer on your cells and be able to see that and not have to strain so hard. I end up making mine really large a lot of times because it's much easier for me to see. So I think that'll about do it for now. I'll stop this video and upload it to YouTube, and I'll see if there's anything more to take care of.